G'day, this is Simon and James at South OC Cars and Coffee. Welcome, great morning this morning. Some really great cars. What have you seen, James?
Yeah, so we have an R34 M-spec Nür, which is a super rare R34. It's actually a one-of-one that's in the United States in this really nice kind of like emerald green color. A whole bunch of other stuff, a ton of exotics. We have a bunch of SVJs, a VF supercharged Performante, which is pretty cool. Whole bunch of great stuff. What about you?
Yeah, there's a 57 Chevy we're going to check out, and also Alex brought in his Renault, which has been a previous car of the week winner, a mid-engine car from the 80s. Really cool car as well. Hey, listen, don't forget that if you are coming to South OC Cars and Coffee, please follow our regulations. No speeding, no revving, no burnouts. And even when you leave, please make sure to take it really easy as you get onto the I-5, just to keep the neighbours happy as well. That really helps us, keeps the city happy, keeps the neighbours happy, which of course protects the show. So we really appreciate that. Hey, let's go for a walk and check it out.
Here we have another gorgeous Huracan in the front row, but this one has a little bit of extra horsepower coming from the VF Engineering VF 800 kit. TVS 2300 supercharger. This is a really nicely spec Performante. I love the red and black. Has the center locks as well, which is a must for these cars. It looks so aggressive. Then a really nice full 1016 kit. You can see all the forged carbon fiber on here. So hood has the front splitter and the front lip, and then even the hood, the A-pillars, and the mirrors are forged carbon as well. So pretty much no expense was spared on this car, but it was done very nicely. Here we have a very nicely spec'd R8. It's a 1718, so Gen 2 non-facelift. It's a non-plus as well, which, you know, normally I do like the carbon wing, but on this, everything's color matched. Even the side blades and the wheel faces as well are Natto gray. This car just looks really good altogether. You won't be able to see it on camera, but it does have the red interior as well, which I think looks absolutely fantastic. Just a really nice OEM kind of plus build. You can see next to it, 2 cars down, is what the actual plus looks like, but this is going to be a facelifted model. But this model is actually growing on me a lot. You know, I never used to be a massive fan of the facelifted Gen 2s, but you know, the longer it's out, I think it just looks really good. This has the nice carbon side blades, carbon wing, just a couple of really nicely spec'd cars. I'm stoked to finally be reunited with this car, one of my favorite R34s of all time. It is an M-spec Nür, which means it is incredibly rare. It's really nice green paint on it as well. This car is meticulously taken care of. It's owned by a gentleman named Uzi, who's the same guy that owns that really nice color shift Aventador SV. But this car is just absolutely perfect. Could be a car of the week contender, possibly. But just, you know, everything on this car is perfect. Really nice Nismo wheels on it. Super clean brakes on it, the nice gold brakes. Right-hand drive, of course. What a gorgeous car.
So I want to give a shout out to these guys. This is Sir John Moto. They're actually a bike shop that's here at the outlets, and they do all sorts of really interesting electric motorcycles. They've got stuff that looks like full-blown motorcycles, as well as regular electric bikes. But the thing I want to talk about today is these guys actually presented Tom, our volunteer, who you may remember lost his leg a few weeks ago, had to have it amputated. They presented him with an electric wheelchair today to use at the show, and then they're actually going to get him one to have permanently and give it to him. What a cool thing. So I've been in their shop. If you're at the outlets, go and check them out, because their designs are over the top. They're not your regular electric bicycle or electric motorcycle for that. There's a whole lot of different interesting things. They even had something with a sidecar in there as well. So great company, but most of all, a really great heart for hooking up Tom with that electric wheelchair. So please go and check him out.
Now this is something you don't see every day. I'm glad that I caught it on the way out. This is a Mercedes McLaren SLR. I believe it's a V12 that they ended up putting in these. And these are a supercar from like 2005, 2006 kind of era that was co-developed by McLaren with Mercedes-Benz. So the technology in this is absolutely fantastic and still looks really cool even now, probably 15 years later. Glad I caught this thing. Now, while these both may look like stock Camaros, these are anything but. These are incredibly highly modified. This is actually a twin turbo LSX putting out about 1200 wheel. This thing's absolutely ridiculous. Unfortunately, the hood is closed now, but I saw it earlier on. Twin 67mm turbos. This thing is just absolutely nuts. And then next to it, we have a really nice ZL1 1LE. And this thing has a Whipple on it, as well as a built motor, big cam, all the good stuff. So two very neat Camaros, tastefully modified, but I love that they still kind of look OEM and stock from the outside.
Beautiful BMW here. This thing is gorgeous. Notice some of the standout things, the fins along here, this roof aero that's along there, and even the rear spoiler that's over here. I remember talking to the owner, I think a few years ago, or months ago, whatever it was. I think they added those things to the car. It's not the way the car came, but they were options for the car. There's something about this car that's just so totally elegant. For me, it's got reminiscent of some of the Gear designs. You know, there were a lot of cars that the Gear was doing designs on them and then sort of rebodying or coaching different cars. This is kind of that look as well. So what a beautiful looking car. Really appreciate the owner bringing it out. So this is not something you see every day. Great looking car. Owner just was talking to me about it here. This car is a 1967 Fiat Bertoni designed Dino. The motor that's in this car was actually designed by Ferrari, and they worked with Fiat because I needed to put 500 of them in cars to be able to race in their Formula 2 series. So the same motor that was basically designed for the Formula 2 was built and put in this particular car. This is beautiful. How long have you owned this car?
Barely under a year. I bought it as it is. I've just been fixing the electrics, engine a little bit, changing the shock absorbers, and doing maintenance, regular maintenance.
Well, it's a really pretty car. Thank you so much for bringing it up. Thank you. Really pretty looking car. Look at this interior in here. It's just so classic Italian, that woven leather, and
Interior needs work, huh?
it's still pretty. It's still the owner was just saying the interior needs work, and then the back end of it, so great. So Dino GT, isn't that amazing, the relationship with Ferrari between this, and of course Ferrari having a Dino in about the same era as well. Really, really cool. Something else you don't see every day, a Gremlin. Have a look at this thing. Couple of downdraft carbs on it there. This thing is just look at the bench seat with almost like a carpeted finish on it. Somebody has looked after this thing. I mean, the chrome's a little bit pitted and the paint, it's got a few little scratches on it, but I tell you what, number of years ago, you probably couldn't have given this thing away, and these days, any quirky cars like this is starting to get a bit of a cult following and a few people that want to love them. So, hey, kind of interesting to see it out today.
This is one car that I've actually never seen before. I've seen the factory Brabus convertible G-Wagons, but never a non-Brabus normal European spec G-Wagon. This convertible spec is really interesting because not too many people got it, understandably so. Kind of defeats the utilitarian purpose of these cars, given that it's only a 2-door instead of a 4-door, and there's no hatch and essentially all this unusable space in the back. But it's really cool seeing one of these, and I hope I see it again.
So boys and girls, this is why you need to stay in school and not take drugs. This Volvo, check this thing out. I'm of course joking because we love all sorts of different cars there. Somebody's put a ton of work into this thing, including a blower obviously, but even the wide body kit, door handle delete, decent gauges in there as well. Serious aero, mate, the guys from Street Outlaws scared with that sort of aero. This is really interesting. I mean, you know what? It's not to everybody's taste, but that's what the car industry is all about, is just have some fun with something. Somebody's obviously built this up, they take it out, they have fun with it, and really that's all that matters. So really, really interesting. As I said, a lot of engineering gone into the thing too. Very cool. Be remiss of me if I didn't take some time to show off some of these beautiful hot rods through here. 31 in this case. I'm not good at telling the difference between a 31 and 32. The front grille looks pretty similar to me, but this guy, I've seen this here before, often Hauser heads on this flathead, triple carbs, really, really cool. Next to it, same sort of deal, this one running a small block Chev, however, a blower on there. Really cool. And then this thing a little bit more modern, obviously, in its design, with the enclosed side covers. Let's get in there and have a look. I'm seeing a small block Chev V8, Edelbrock carb on that thing. So a little bit of a newer power plant in that one, but great to see these three lined up here. Just love 31s, 32s. They've just got such a great presence. And these three, well, they look really, really cool, especially the back end. So this is kind of interesting. This is a Nissan President. Now, obviously, we think Mercedes, we think BMW, we think Audi when it comes to luxury cars. Well, in Japan, they were trying to create their own market. And obviously here, these days in the US, we've got brands like Infiniti, we've got brands like Lexus. Acura, they're the luxury brands for Japan, but in Japan, for example, you don't drive around and see a Lexus, it's all branded Toyota. And this was Nissan's equivalent of one of those limousine style cars. You know, obviously a lot bigger than your traditional Japanese sedan, but also designed for a whole lot of luxury. And you'll notice these covers and these curtains and everything. If you jump into a taxi in Japan, for example, they're the sort of things you'll see on the car. So that's sort of a normal thing to see. So right-hand drive, so obviously this is from Japan, it's an import, but really interesting to see cars that we don't see on the street here normally. Lots of cars this morning we don't see a lot of, this big Chrysler being one of them. This is a Windsor, it's got Newport on the side of it as well. Look at the interior in this thing, it's just absolutely beautiful. Cars of this era just had so many amazing style lines. You can see how the back of this looks really similar to the Cadillacs of the same era. So really interesting to see, great colour scheme too on it, isn't it?
That's going to do it for another weekend here at South OC Cars and Coffee. What a phenomenal turnout this morning, and the weather was perfect as well. It really was the perfect day here. Huge shout out to all of our sponsors. We have McGuire's, Polestar, Share Your Car, Pacific Air Cooled, Next Level Detailing, Teen Road to Safety, Modern Retrofits, RPM Tesla Aftermarket Accessories, Mazda North America, LKQ Pick Your Part, and then Bridgestone as well. And then a huge shout out to all of our volunteers as well for coming out each and every week and helping us put on the event. We really couldn't do it without them. Remember, if you want to become a volunteer, hit us up on Instagram at South OC Cars and Coffee Merch. It's where we handle all of our merchandise and all of our volunteer rostering. While you're over there, make sure you check out some of the new designs. We do have some new t-shirts coming out soon. We just got some new hats. Like we said in the beginning of the video, if you are coming to the event, please make sure that you enter and leave quietly. No revving, speeding, or burnouts. And that includes when you're getting onto the freeway. You know, we want to keep it quiet and we want to keep the neighbors happy, and we just got to do our part to keep the event going.
Absolutely. Big thank you, of course, to Outlets of San Clemente for allowing us to be here. We couldn't do it without them, so please make sure to do your bit. Support all the restaurants and the stores in the outlets. Make sure to tell them South OC Cars and Coffee sent you. And of course, a big thank you to the City of San Clemente for their support as well. That's it. What a great week. We'll see you back here next week for another South OC Cars and Coffee.